Star Trek has had hundreds of people walking the various halls and decks of its fleet. Some have been strong and silent. Well, they haven't been paid to do any talking. Some were brought in for short or even single-day contracts, and some came back again and again. Some of these quiet folk even commanded a ship from time to time, even if the regulars didn't really talk about it afterwards. I am Marcus Bronzy, and here is 10 background actors in Star Trek who got themselves noticed. Number 10, Victor Bevine, Star Trek First Contact. Now, this unlucky crewman was assimilated with the Borg partial takeover of the Enterprise E in Star Trek's First Contact. Now, in one of the montages in the film, Bevine's soon-to-be drone tries desperately to retune his phaser rifle as a bunch of Borg stalk towards him. He appears on this list for two reasons. First, Bevine would go on to be a bit of a player in DS9 Voyager and Enterprise. He appeared in the episodes Things Past, Pathfinder and First Flight, and his DS9 appearance came in the same year, making this something of his introduction to Star Trek. The second reason he appears here is that the film was released in 1996, and in 2021 he's still instantly recognizable because of that facial expression. The man doesn't have a line of dialogue and manages to stand out from the crowd with that face. As you were, Mr. Bevine. Number 9, the Invisible Wheel Guy, the Lights of Zeta. This unknown actor has been immortalized forever thanks to HD. In this episode, the Lights of Zeta comes in Star Trek's third and final season. In the episode, a strange non-corporeal creature threatens to destroy Memory Alpha, no, not the website, and the Enterprise. This crewman must act busy as the captain is walking by, or as they like to call it in lower decks, buffer time. Number 8, Barbara Babcock, various of the original series. Barbara Babcock's career in the Star Trek began when she appeared voice only as Trelane's mother in The Squire of Gothos. Her voice was instantly commanding, securing her a returning spot on the show mere episodes later in A Taste of Armageddon. Here she appeared on screen in the role of Mia 3. She would return on screen in the third season episode, that infamous episode with Kirk being ridden like a horse, aka Plato's stepchildren, as Philania. She has had a long career with numerous guest appearances and spots on various shows. Her voice acting was celebrated repeatedly in Star Trek when she returned as the voice of the Beta 5 computer and Isis the Cat in the episode Assignment Earth. She would also appear as a Tholian commander in the Tholian Web, and she was the voice of Zeterans in The Lights of Zeta, giving that episode its second spot on this list. Number 7, Laureen Mendel, all 7 seasons of TNG. Laureen Mendel appeared in all 7 seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation. She is not simply a blink and you'll miss her face in the crowd, as she was continually brought back to appear again and again. Not only that, but her character was named as Diana Giddings. She appeared in both Operations Gold and Science Blue uniforms, being both promoted and demoted in her run on the show. She would continue on with the show, appearing on the bridge of the Enterprise B as well in Star Trek Generations. While she may have not had a speaking role on the show and has since retired from acting, she did reprise her role in 1989 for the series finale of Webster, where she again appeared in her Science Blue uniform alongside Michael Dorn's Worf. Number 6, Leyla Saracalo, Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home is certainly one of the funniest Star Trek films to date. I mean, the entire fish out of water scenario is mined for as many laughs as it can be, though it is paced well enough so that it's not overdone. One of the funniest moments comes when Uhura and Chekhov are trying to find nuclear war vessels as they approach several people in the street, none of whom speak to them as they are extras, including an SFPD cop. One woman, Leyla Saracalo, does answer them. However, Saracalo's car had been impounded as she had missed the warnings to move it for filming. She therefore approached the assistant director about appearing as an extra in the hopes that she could earn enough money to pay for her car. That's a hustler's move. After being told to act naturally, she answered Uhura and Chekhov, and the filmmakers kept it in the film. They even inducted her into the Screen Actors Guild in order for her lines to be kept in the film. Number 5, Grace Lee Whitney, Janice Rand. Grace Lee Whitney only appeared in a handful of episodes of Star Trek the original series before leaving in a less than pleasant set of circumstances. In that short time, however, she stood out so much that when DeForest Kelley discovered that she was unemployed ahead of Star Trek The Motion motion picture, he arranged for her to return to the franchise. Janice Rand returned to the Enterprise, this time as the transporter operative who is forced to witness the horrific death of 2 officers due to an accident. She returned again in Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 6, though with a big promotion this time. Commander Rand served aboard the bridge of the USS Excelsior under Captain Sulu, and they would both return for Star Trek Voyager's tribute episode, Flashback. Though never a starring character, Grace Lee Whitney is remembered years later as a key player in Star Trek, an essential part of the original lineup. Speaking of original lineups, number 4, Majel Barrett. For an actor who was fired after their first episode, which was a pilot, Majel Barrett sure did find a way to keep coming back to Star Trek. The story of her introduction, well, on screen that is, to Star Trek is fairly well documented. She appeared as number 1, the first officer in the original pilot, The Cage. When the network executives demanded a rewrite and a switch up of characters, hers was cut. This could have been the end of her career in Star Trek, yet the role of Nurse Christy Chapel was written for her. She would stand out so much in this part that she would appear many more times as the character, coming back for the films, this time promoted to Dr. Chapel. She also would of course become Lwaxana Troi in The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. Number 3. Colm Meaney. That unnamed con officer from Encounter of Farpoint, the Star Trek Next Generation's pilot episode, did pretty well for himself, didn't he? When Colm Meaney appeared in his first episode of Star Trek, his star had yet to rise. His film career would kick off in 1990, but in 1987 he was simply an actor who jumped at a day's work like anyone else. He did have some lines, but that is all. The character had no name. He impressed Roddenberry, who brought him back, transferring him from the con to the transporter room, and it was there he would finally receive a name, Miles Edward O'Brien. The fans responded so well to him that he was given more and more stories to play out, culminating in his transfer and starring role in Deep Space Nine. Number 2. Eddie Paske, Lieutenant Leslie. Lieutenant Leslie, one of the hardest working members of Starfleet, stood out so much that he actually commanded the Enterprise. Now, in fairness, that was for only about half an hour, but still, it's more than most other crewmen can claim. Eddie Paske joined Star Trek in the second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before. He played a security guard on Delta Vega, adorned in blue at that point. However, he then came back in the episode The Man Trap, serving not as just an actor, but also as both William Shatner's and James Doohan's doubles at various points. Though for Doohan, he merely subbed in his hand for the episode Wolf in the Fold as a close-up, as Doohan was missing a finger from his time in the services. He appeared in many episodes though, and was only credited for 2 of them. He would retire from acting before the end of the 3rd season though, due to a back injury that prevented him from working. Number 1. Tariq Ayala, Lieutenant Ayala. Former marquee member Lieutenant Ayala had appeared in almost every episode of Star Trek Voyager, becoming easily one of the most recognizable background actors in the franchise. Though he never managed to get a properly speaking role, save for a few words here and there, he was extremely popular behind the scenes. He appeared on the Enterprise D in Star Trek Generations, though as an unspeaking medical technician in sickbay. He provided the body for Satan's robot in Captain Proton, and according to the call sheet for Enterprise's Fortunate Son, he stands at a lofty 6'4". He did the motion capture for the Xindi insectoid race in Enterprise, whilst appearing as a slew of other aliens and characters along the way. Though due to his strong and silent standing in Voyager, Tariq Ayala will almost definitely be forever known to fans as Lieutenant Ayala for the rest of his time. So there you have it. I have been Marcus Bronzy with 10 background actors in Star Trek who got themselves noticed. Who did we miss? Let us know in the comments. Also, you can drop us a like and subscribe while you're at it too, thank you very much. You can find me on social media at Marcus Bronzy, at MarcusBronzy. And also, I have a podcast called How to Kill an Hour. Listen to that where you find yours. Until next time, live long and prosper.